Tonight, the eyes of the nation turn once more to the capital of our republic. The president stands ready to address Congress, the country, and the whole watching world. Many have called this a test not only for one man or even one party, but for the patience and spirit of the American people. What is the real state of our union tonight? Is it written in applause lines and camera flashes, or in the quiet hopes and honest worries of ordinary men and women? Families who ask, above all, can America still pull together to meet big challenges? Together? Picture a kitchen at sunset. The dinner dishes are stacked high. A father studies a pile of bills. A mother scans the headlines. Their children finish homework with pencils stubbed short. The radio murmurs news from far-off places. Yet the biggest question in that room is simple. Will tomorrow be kinder than today? My friends, that is the question which matters most, no matter who leads or which party claims the floor. And tonight, I speak not as a member of any party, but as a neighbor, as a citizen, and as one who trusts in America's quiet strength. In recent days, as the State of the Union draws near, many of us have felt the unsettled winds of our time. The price of eggs and milk creeps upward. Housing costs weigh on young families and old ones too. Some jobs have returned, others have vanished, perhaps for good. You hear promises, grand claims about tax cuts or tariffs, about making America first or keeping her strong. Yet, beneath all the speeches lies a deeper yearning, a simple hope that hard work will be rewarded and that no neighbor will be left behind by the tides of change. Think of a factory at dawn. Workers gather beneath the hum of lights, voices low, hands calloused but steady. They remember better days, and they brace for the challenges ahead. Some worry whether their paychecks will stretch far enough, whether the hours will be cut. Meanwhile, across oceans, trouble stirs. We hear of tension with Iran, of American soldiers on distant sands, of allies and rivals watching our every move. At home, too, the noise grows louder. Partisan jabs, doubts piled on top of divisions from years past. In the halls of Congress, as the president speaks, some will clap, some will scowl. Some may even walk out, a reminder that ours is not a silent or easy democracy. But what does it all mean for the nation? Not for the few, but for all. I say to you, the real test is not for those who take the stage, but for the spirit that binds us together, even as we disagree. That spirit is what saved the Republic in harder days and what can yet save it again. America's true strength has never been found in the name at the podium, but in the character of her people. When times were hard, during the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression, or the long hours of war, it was Americans, plain folk, who never quit on each other. Pause for a moment. Imagine a classroom where a young teacher, worried about her salary, tries to explain to bright-eyed children that their future is still wide open. She sees their curiosity and hope, but she knows their families fret about lost jobs, medical bills, the cost of filling their backpacks. Or think of an old veteran, coat buttoned tight, standing in line at the drugstore, wondering how far his pension will last. He listens to talk of a strong America, but he knows true strength lives not in boasts, but in caring for our own. Tonight, the president will speak of policy, perhaps trade, energy, or the price at the pump. He may urge us to look outward, to see dangers in foreign lands, or he may call for pride in bringing jobs back home. But here is what I ask you to remember. The history of our republic has taught us that fear cannot build greatness. Blame cannot put food on the table. Strutting or shouting or making war on our neighbors never brought lasting prosperity. Instead, it is unity, plain, patient, stubborn unity, that turns hardship into hope. History has seen this before. In the darkest hours, Americans did not choose to bicker or despair. They rolled up their sleeves and rebuilt. They listened, yes, truly listened, to neighbors unlike themselves. They found dignity not in how loudly they talked, but in what they quietly did for one another. Picture Main Street, flags stirring in the evening light. Shopkeepers sweep their steps after a slow day. A teenager helps an elderly woman with her groceries, offering a shy smile. Not all news is black and white. Hope and worry walk side by side on every street. Yet something precious endures. Even as we debate, sometimes sharply, about right and wrong, about policy and politics, there is a deeper loyalty we share. In that loyalty, we find the hope the Republic needs. The President's speech will be measured for its style, for the lines that draw cheers or jeers. Some will focus on the faces, who frowns, who claps, who turns away. But I say, let us look deeper. What really matters is not the performance, but the promise to every American that this is their country still, and that no hardship, no disagreement, no passing bitterness can ever erase their stake in our future. At the core of our struggle tonight is a moral challenge. Do we judge leaders by the height of their words or by the steadiness of their deeds? Will we demand policies on tax, trade, or defense that lift up the many or merely flatter the few? Brothers and sisters, we must not settle for fine words while our neighbors go wanting. We must not mistake showmanship for statesmanship. As headlines flare and passions rise, let us ask ourselves, what kind of union do we wish to defend, and for whom is this nation meant to deliver? Now, as the President addresses Congress, it is easy to feel our hearts tighten. There is talk of division, of crisis, of leaders at odds. It is tempting to wonder if our differences have become too wide to bridge. But America's strength is her unity. We are not kept safe by harsh words or by exclusion, but by the steady hands and willing hearts of citizens who look out for one another. When a neighbor's crop fails, it is the community, not some distant office, that brings in the harvest. When a mill shuts its doors, the local union and church work together to help families find their footing. Picture a school gym, sunlight slanting through the windows, where volunteers hand out groceries. No questions asked, no politics at the door. This is the quiet courage that stitches the Republic together. These acts do not make headlines, but they are the timber that holds up our house. Tonight, some will say our nation is too divided. They will point to angry speeches, to sharp exchanges on the floor. But let us recall that the history of America is not a tale of perfect agreement, but of a people who disagree fiercely and still find a way forward. Think back to the Great Depression. Main streets across the country were lined with men and women searching for any honest job. Soup kitchens bustled, not with shame, but with neighborly help. Every meal shared was an act of faith in tomorrow. Picture a small-town barber shop, the talk gentle and the newspaper pages turning. There, politics and gossip float like dust motes through the morning sun, but neighborliness wins out every time. We have known days when hope was scarce, yet always there were those who patched roofs, who lined up early for day work, who folded $1 into an old friend's hand. This was not weakness, it was the kernel of our unity. Tonight, some voices will say the only way to be safe is to shout down the other side, to build higher walls, to keep our struggles hidden from the world. But history has seen this before and knows better. America's greatness lies not in isolation, but in cooperation. Not in shutting out the world, but in proving freedom's value by living it every day. Across miles of farmland, in the clatter of city trains, in the hush of rural churches, we find the soul of our republic. Picture a tired couple kneeling at the foot of their bed, hands folded, giving thanks not for plenty, but for enough. There are families who rise before the dawn, pack lunch pails, and face each new day unsure if the pay will last or the job will survive. These Americans do not ask for charity. They ask only for a fair chance and an even field. It is for them and for every man, woman, and child who wonders if their work still matters that the Union must stand tallest. For what is the state of the Union truly, if not the sum of millions of silent hopes and worries still spoken only at night? We cannot measure the future of our nation by the warmth of applause or the polish of a single speech. Its real strength is found in shared burdens, a neighbor's snow shoveled, a stranger's child given a lift to school, a paycheck stretched and shared with pride. History has seen this before. During the dust storms of the plains, when crops failed and banks closed, Americans formed co-ops, shared seed and hope, and marched day after day behind sturdy plows. They did not despair that Washington was slow or that neighbors disagreed. Instead, they looked around and asked, "How can we help one another?" Tonight, as the words echo through Congress, I challenge us all to ask a simple question, not what divides us, but what unites us still. This, my friends, is the test of every true state of the Union. For the Republic is not a crown passed from hand to hand, it is a bond renewed every generation, every day, in acts large and small. As the hour grows late and the news cycles turn, hold fast to this. The real story of America will not be written by the boldest voice or the brashest headline, but by quiet resolve. The mother driving her truck down a snowy road, the nurse wiping a brow in a crowded clinic, the shopkeeper who opens early, even when hope feels thin. America's strength is her unity, and unity is not something handed down by decree. It is built stubbornly, with patience, with a steady hand offered to old rivals, with an apology after a harsh word, with a vote cast in faith that tomorrow can be better than today. Here, let me tell you of a steel town I once saw. Shifts shortened, horns stilled, union halls filled with worry. But in those halls, men and women voted not on anger, but on finding a way to keep the lights burning. They organized food banks, retrained the out of work, pooled funds for sick neighbors. They did not agree on everything, but they agreed that survival rests on working together. That is the Republic in action. Picture an elderly man setting a battered flag on a morning porch, a quiet reminder that hope is a choice. So the State of the Union, for all its fanfare, is truly a mirror. It shows us not what we wish to be, but what we choose each day to become. Neighbor, citizen, one people. Let tonight be the night we choose unity over division, hope over cynicism, courage over fear. The Republic can be saved, but only if, as citizens, we demand more from our leaders and give more quietly to one another. Let us remember, our differences are real, our challenges are daunting, but our faith in each other must be the strongest force of all. You may wonder, sitting at your kitchen table or riding the late bus home, whether unity is still possible in times like these. I assure you, it is not only possible, it is essential, and it is already happening, every day, in the places where cameras rarely linger. Picture a small-town library, soft lamplight spilling onto worn tables as a dozen adults, young and old, gather to help a neighbor who lost her home in a fire. No one asks what party she belongs to. They see only a friend in need. Or think of a border town school where teachers buy snacks for hungry students out of their own pay, not because it is easy, nor because they are told by law, but because decency compels them. That, my friends, is the heartbeat of the Republic. Unity is not the same as uniformity. We will disagree, sometimes sharply, over policies, leadership, vision. But let us not be driven apart by those who profit from discord, who gnaw at the nerves of our national spirit. Not all news is black and white. Often, most often, it is both. Pride follows grief. Hardship brings out the best and the worst. But the Republic survives when its people meet in the wide middle, where solutions, though imperfect, are possible. Our founders did not promise a land free from quarrel. They built instead a place big enough for many voices, strong enough to withstand storms, wise enough to renew itself with each new trial. Think of Washington at Valley Forge, cold, hungry, running out of hope, but surrounded by men who stayed because their cause was just. Or Lincoln, calling the nation to its better angels as towns and families grieved sons lost to war. Strength always came from unity of purpose, not perfect agreement. In the noisy weeks after tonight, you will hear many say, "The country is lost. Our institutions are broken. Trust cannot be rebuilt." But look closer. Picture a mechanic wiping his hands after a long day's work, listening to the radio, turning to his daughter and saying, "We'll get through this together." Or an immigrant woman starting her first small business, nervous but proud, holding the keys in her hand as neighbors wish her luck. If you seek hope for the Republic, search in these small acts. The Republic is not found on marble steps, but in fire stations, laundromats, and quiet parks where joggers wave at strangers, and children share swings without asking who their parents voted for. Yes, there are dangers. The world is uncertain. Abroad, our soldiers watch with wary eyes. Our diplomats work to keep peace. At home, the cost of things rises, and anxiety grows with it. But remember, fear is a poor guide. The better guide is the legacy handed down to us ever since farmers picked up muskets or women marched for the vote, ever since workers sat down for fair wages or inventors sketched big dreams by candlelight. If we let the cynics win, if we turn on each other or see all disagreement as threat, we will lose not only the politics of the moment, but the strength that made America more than just another patch of earth. Hope is not a luxury. It is a discipline. It is the stubborn act of rolling out of bed when the outlook is bleak, of casting ballots, of petitioning, of opening your heart to someone you do not fully understand. In the coming days, let us lift each other up, literally and figuratively. Picture neighbors sandbagging against floodwaters while storms rage. No one asks what flag the next house flies. Everyone grabs a shovel. Let us teach our children by example. Let us fill food pantries, tutor one another's kids, repair broken bikes and city benches, join our voices in neighborly song. Never forget, a single hand extended in kindness can turn back a tide of hatred. A single voice raised in patience can quiet a room full of shouting. This is not mere comfort. It is a call to action. Let us demand that those who would govern us honor the decency of the people they serve. Let us expect more, always, from ourselves and from those in high office. Let us refuse to settle for leaders who only stir up old wounds, or point fingers, or speak in riddles and shadows. Instead, let us call out for leaders who build bridges, who search for answers, who remember that public service means exactly that, service to the public. Picture a city council meeting, chairs scraped back as the last citizens file out, and two rivals remain behind, talking quietly, sharing old coffee, trying to find just a bit of common ground before heading home. Real progress is slow, sometimes frustrating, but it is always made step by step, neighbor by neighbor. We must hold fast to the truth that America's greatest moments have come not when she was most at ease, but when she was most challenged. The Depression tested our resolve. Wars abroad weighed on our souls. Civil rights struggles cracked open old sins and forced us to aspire, together, toward justice. Each time the Republic was saved not by magic, but by courage, by honest talk, by thousands of daily mercies from citizen to citizen. If you listen to the loudest voices, you might believe the center cannot hold. But I tell you, the center is where most Americans live. Parents working 2 jobs, farmers fixing a fence before supper, students finishing homework by the glow of a kitchen lamp. Most are good, as my mother would have said. Most want what is fair. Most believe in tomorrow. Not all news is black and white. There are shadows, and there is sunlight. Our job, as citizens, is to widen the sunlight. We must not let those who profit from chaos steal the story of this nation. Picture a block party after the storm, branches cleared, grills smoking, children tossing a ball. In 100,000 towns, the real America carries on, unknown, unnoticed, but unstoppable. I say this to you tonight. The Republic can be saved. It is saved not by shouting, nor by shutting each other out, but by reaching across the table, by offering our share, by insisting that truth, not comfort, not wishful thinking, guides our decisions. So, as the sun rises again, and you face the work and worry of your own day, remember, the center holds if we hold it. Trust is rebuilt one honest word, one good deed, one imperfect but real handshake at a time. The road ahead will not be easy. It never has been. But America's strength is her unity, the kind you see in food banks, in firehouses, in lines of volunteers stacking boxes or writing checks when disaster strikes. Let us step forward, not as those who fear the unknown, but as those who remember history, who know that hope is justified, and compassion, though simple, is powerful. So I leave you tonight with this question, one for both the head and the heart. When the story of our time is told, will we be remembered for the lines we drew or the hands we extended? That choice, my fellow citizens, is yours and mine every single day.